turn these comments off. Alright, I hope y'all can hear me. Um, this is something that's just been like on my mind lately because I watch a lot of reality TV shows. And I stay updated with like marriages and relationships and stuff. And plus just me thinking about my own personal life affairs and stuff too. And I feel like I've matured a lot over the years. Um, as y'all know, I have messages and videos on God ordained marriages and unions. Although all my videos are private at the moment. Um, when I got my first, actually just the previous three, when the Father had sent me a mate. When I was young, my first one, I was 21. I was just always under the impression that just because it was God ordained that it was safe to rush into it. Because that's pretty much like the ideal standard for a lot of Christians, is that if the Father ordained it, and if He sent the person, then it's safe. So, there doesn't really have to be a specific time period of courtship or too many rules, so to speak, and y'all can just, safely marry and just let that be that. It's going to be blessed regardless. That is a lot from the pits of hell. So I have experience in that department to share that it's not true. Just because the Lord ordained something does not mean that it's not going to be attacked, that it's not going to suffer any trials of its own. It's blessed in the sense that His purpose and His plan and His sovereignty is behind it because He's the one who ordained it versus you doing something your own way. But that doesn't mean that it can't fail. As we see in Scripture, there's a lot of things that the Father ordained, a lot of kings that He ordained to do a specific thing, and they all failed miserably. So, I just think it's very interesting how, like, my thoughts have just been kind of reformed over the years with the approach that I take towards it now. When it comes to the Father sending your mate, and if any of you guys are courting right now, a man or a woman, or maybe you are actually courting your God-ordained spouse, hopefully you are. To be honest, I'm going to speak to all audiences, both parties, because I've come to the conclusion with everything I've learned, everything I've experienced personally, when it comes to God-ordained unions, and just observing other people's marriages, I've concluded that the only three things that's really going to save a marriage, regardless of who ordains it, I think I probably said this in a video before, I'm having deja vu. The only three things that's really going to save your marriage is, number one, your personal fear of the Lord. You have to fear and love Him first. Because when you love and fear Him first, you're not going to base your loyalty and your faithfulness to your covenant on the circumstances of your relationship. Because your relationship is going to have trials. There's going to be wavering, tides and stuff. So when you make a serious covenant like that with somebody, something that's lifelong until death, literally, you would have to love Yahuwah first, and your love for Him is what's going to enable you to continue giving unconditional love to that person and fulfilling your part in that marriage. That's number one. Number two, what I've concluded recently, just thinking about it, and this is why I say don't rush into marriage. I think that everybody courting the person that they want to be with or that they're considering marriage with should really take time to not only get to know the person thoroughly, but allow yourself to develop a genuine care and a genuine love for this person. Because I've found that, okay, I haven't actually seen it, but I feel that it's harder for you to leave a relationship in a marriage with somebody that you genuinely care about. There's a lot of people that fall out of love romantically, but they're still with their spouse to this day because that's their best friend. They just genuinely love them as a person. There's a lot of people who are divorced that still care about their covenant spouse. And a lot of marriages don't have that. So that was my number two. And I think the number three was, I forgot. I know that it was like kind of like number two, but I kind of forgot what the heck I was gonna say. Yes, I was gonna say number three is, as an extension to number two, getting to know the person really well and allowing y'all to actually develop real feelings for each other. And I'm not talking about like romantic, honeymoon phase feelings. I'm talking about really getting to know this man, really getting to know this woman, and developing an actual care for them, like a genuine love, apart from a romantic love. When you care about somebody as a person, it's really hard to let them go. That's going to be the lifeline. No, the Father and His Word, your fear of Him and obeying His Word over whatever the circumstances of your relationship is going to be your lifeline of the marriage. And I feel like you genuinely caring about them is an extension to that. And because of that, thirdly, my number three, the only thing that's going to save a marriage is if both of those parties are willing to fight for a marriage. And they're both interested in that covenant. They're both continuing to be long-suffering. You cannot have a one-sided marriage. It's not going to work. People give up on marriage just because they don't fear the Most High. That's why I said that as my number one. Any marriage can be successful. Even an unhappy marriage can be successful in the sense that you're still fulfilling your duties, your marital duties. You're still, demonstrating unconditional love toward your spouse. You're still pleasing the Father by treating your spouse like He told you to. That's why I said number one would be your fear and love for Him first. So the reason why I titled this Don't Rush Into Marriage is because how I approached things in the past, just because it was God ordained, I always rushed into all of them. Always. And second guy, looking back on it, the Holy Spirit did His work in everything in the beginning. It was definitely budding. We both had the revelation, but I was so young. I was like 21 and just like really naive, really immature. And I didn't really give that situation a chance to just kind of blossom naturally. Getting to know the person, just because you know somebody is your God-ordained spouse and that this is the person the Lord chose for you doesn't mean that you know them. He can reveal some things to you about them, but that's not really knowing somebody. And the Father is never going to rob you of that experience. I had my comments hidden, so I didn't even see what you said at first, the trash bag person. No, I haven't. I have yet to wear a trash bag, but thank you for asking. Thank you for reminding me. But I'm going to turn these comments off because I don't want to be distracted. And I ain't trying to talk to nobody. I just wanted to get on here and talk. So, yeah, the Father can reveal things to you about your God-ordained spouse, but He's not going to rob us of the experience of actually getting to know somebody in their presence. And He can't do all that for you, And even if He did reveal all the specific details, it's not experiential, so it's not going to be the same. And I'm speaking as a seer. I have the Lord expose and reveal a lot of stuff to me about a lot of people, but it's different when you experience what He showed you in that dream. You could already know it intellectually. You could have it like down packed, like already know what the person is like, know their heart before you walk into the situation. He already kind of put you up on game. When you experience it, it's a completely different reality, okay? Your experience makes His word come alive. So that's something He's never going to take away from you. So the way I see God-ordained unions now, and I want to say this, God cannot promise you a happy marriage. He can promise you something the way He promises you anything else in the Word, which means it comes with conditions. I can promise you that the man or the woman that I chose for you, that this is going to be a blessed marriage if you do this, if you do that, if y'all don't do this, if y'all abstain from this. So there's always an if. All of God's promises are very conditional. So they can become a curse. It doesn't mean that Him putting it together, was a curse. He had good intentions for that. Anything that the Father puts together that He ordains, He has His own plan, His own intention, and His purpose behind that union. And it's always going to give glory back to Him. And those two parties, being sensitive to His voice and having a relationship with Him themselves, are supposed to be cooperating with whatever that purpose is. And they're going to be blessed as a result because they're a part of the union. So we get all the lovey-dovey, falling in love and marrying our counterparts, our male or female counterpart, our soulmates, and All that stuff is wonderful. He's not just going to leave you out of the promised land, but he does have a bigger purpose for that marriage. So he can promise you a blessed marriage, but it's conditional. So I want to reword that. But the idea that just because it came from him or that he put it together, that nothing can go wrong, that's not true. This is literally the only difference between a God ordained union and a union where two believers just chose to get together is there's purpose behind one of them. There's a bigger sovereign. You can trust the Lord's hands to be on this one more than that one would be, because you kind of did that in your own will. Not that he wouldn't bless it or acknowledge it as a marriage, but his specific projects are a completely different type of work. Okay, you just picking somebody that you wanted to marry can still be blessed, but it's not his project. You did that. So it's different. There's so much bigger purpose behind something he actually strategically orchestrated, and you're a part of that. That's bomb. But y'all have to follow certain rules and regulations to make sure that this marriage union becomes what he originally intended it to be before he brought it to you through revelation. He already planned this out for the both of y'all. So, and this is a consistent thing that is a process. It is something that you have to daily choose to carry out. Whatever the Father's plans and whatever his heart's desire is for this union, for this courtship to bring glory to him, y'all have to continue to choose daily for the rest of your life that I'm going to love this person the way the Most High told me to, and I have to have a sensitive ear to him to make sure that I'm not only fulfilling my part, but that I am walking out the steps that he's ordained for the both of us to actually do what he intended this union to do. I'm being blessed of it, no doubt. Great sex, okay, beautiful woman, handsome guy, like I said, romance, male counterpart, all that wonderful stuff, the only stuff that we care about, because normally we don't really care about our marriage bringing glory to the Father, but that's what it's for. So, you're going to be blessed. That's not something you have to worry about. But, so yeah, there's really not too much difference apart from that. So, the reason why I say don't rush into it is because I feel like with what the Father gives you, you have to handle it very carefully. And this is not, I would have never talked like this years ago. I was such an idiot years ago. I ruined all of them. Well, not all of them. I'm just saying, I used to be that sister that was very naive, that would just rush into it because it was God. So it's like, when the Father gives you something, handle it with care and honor, which means that wisdom comes with what he just gave you. It's not wisdom to rush into something, even though he put it together. That is true, but you don't know this person. For example, let's say you married the person as soon as you met him. I don't know. Some people do that. And I'm not saying that the Father that he wouldn't do that. He does do that. Get his okay on that first before you want to marry somebody for 4 months, okay? Let's say you marry this person. Y'all don't really know each other. And there's certain flaws or certain things that you dislike about their personality or their character. Or maybe the guy is a little aggressive and controlling, a little more than what you would like or what you're comfortable with. But it's too late because y'all are already in covenant. So you're not even in a position anymore to get to know this person. And after you spend some time with them and you get a chance to really see and experience what the Father has given to you as a gift, you can make the decision, okay, do I really want to be a part of this? Is it something I feel like I can handle? Or you didn't even give yourself enough time to really, now that I do see these flaws, what kind of steps or what kind of methods can I use or take to where I can kind of help, I can use this to kind of benefit our relationship moving forward, or how I can use these methods to bless this man or bless this woman. You didn't have time for that. You just kind of rushed into everything. So, yes, you can, and I do believe in this. I have a lot of sisters that say the same thing. I do believe that you can marry somebody and date them afterwards. That's true. Especially, I think, culturally speaking, and Hebraically, that's kind of how it's done. There's nothing wrong with you marrying somebody as the Father leads you, and you continuing to get to know the person. Maybe you get to know them afterwards, culturally in different places. They don't know the person. It's an arranged marriage. But I just don't think it's wisdom. Not that the father could make it work. I just think he wants both parties really prepared for what they're getting themselves into. And although it's a blessing and you can trust his word, you can trust the union, you can trust that he put it together, he wants you to ease into it. You know, if you notice, like before the father actually leads you into something, more than likely he'll prepare you for it first, just so you don't get like hit upside the head with it. Not saying that this isn't the man or the woman of your dreams or anything, but there could be a lot of things about their personality or their character or their behavior that you haven't experienced before, and you may not know how to react to something like that. So here you are married to this person, your God ordained spouse, thinking it's going to be a blessing, everything's going to be, cookies and roses and lemonade or whatever. And let's say your husband deals with anger, and you're a sensitive, fragile, little meek little thing, and he punches his first wall, not knowing that the Father ordained y'all to be together because your peaceful and calming spirit is going to soothe whatever wounds that he's dealing with. So it is God ordained, but you weren't ready for all of that, right? You didn't give yourself enough time to really court him and get to know him, and in seeing those flaws maybe before y'all got married, maybe even grow to love them. Okay, I've seen him do this before. I'm prepared now moving forward. I know what to expect. And I've even prayerfully, received a revelation from the Father or some particular strategy of how to deal with him and how to help him when this happens again. But if you just rush into a marriage union and everything is gravy for like maybe a couple months, and like I said, he punches his first wall, you're freaking terrified. Another thing I wanted to say is I also encourage marriage counseling beforehand, because I think communication is very important in a marriage union. And you'll be surprised how many Christians do not know how to communicate. And I don't want to get too much into that. That's a whole other video. But what I think about when I say communication is we're very passive aggressive people because we are under the impression that we have to force ourselves to be and to do what the word tells us to. And although you should do that, if it's not coming from a genuine place of love, your marriage is not going to be fruitful. So I don't think everybody is equipped to properly communicate what they feel. Some of us could deal with rejection. Some of us could deal with like severe timidity or anxiety, to where when people do make us feel smaller or when we do get offended, we don't voice that because we don't know how. That's going to be a problem because that's going to manifest as passive aggression in your marriage, and people can pick up on stuff like that. So, and I know because although I'm very articulate, I do have communication issues because I have a lot of people do stuff and say stuff that pisses me off, and instead of me, I don't know how to talk to people. I mean, it's weird because it's like I'm not a confrontational person. I don't have the experience of what you did or what you said offended and upset me, manager or coworker or boyfriend, whoever he who or they would be, and I sit you down and we actually have a conversation about this. By that time, I probably have so much anxiety and secret thoughts about you just build up. I feel like if I were to even try to voice that, it probably would turn into an argument. So I know for a fact I'm gonna need marriage counseling. Not so much to work on like, healing old traumas and wounds. I would be open to that with my partner because I still need healing in that direction too. But I already did older videos saying how the Father uses your marriage union and in your marriage to actually heal and deliver you in and of itself. So you don't really need a marriage counselor for that, but it could help. But more so how to communicate. I would like to go to marriage counseling for communication because I've even experienced being intimidated by people who are a little bit more assertive. They're used to that. They're used to confrontation. It doesn't really bother them. When they feel like a conversation needs to be had, they sit you down and there's this tension for you, not for them because they're adults. For me, it's just kind of like I get really intimidated. I get really antsy. I feel very threatened. That's the word. I feel very threatened. So I don't really know how to voice what I'm feeling in a way that I feel like won't be offensive or maybe don't even know. Some of us don't even have a voice. You may have experienced like abuse in your household, to where it made you feel like your voice doesn't matter. That's going to play into your marriage. If you're not communicating what you feel, don't even get into the subject about the marriage bed, because you're definitely going to have to communicate with that. So not even just talking about that part yet, just in general. Um, you do not have an open line of communication, and you're not in a space where you can continue to understand your partner, because you're both going to be changing in that union over the years. Y'all are growing together. So in order for me to stay glued to you, I'm in a covenant with you for life, that's true, but in order for you to understand your partner moving forward, as y'all are both transforming and growing and being sanctified and renewed constantly together, I have to still be aware of who you are. And if you're not communicating to me how you feel, or when I say or do this bothers you, or when I have this or this person over, you feel disrespected, or maybe your likes and your dislikes change. You have to continue to get to know your spouse. If you don't know how to communicate, your marriage is not going to grow or be fruitful at all. So it's just little stuff like this that you just want to do before you get married. Not saying that it's not going to be a blessed union, but it's blessed because the Father ordained it. But if you want to ensure that it stays that way, or that it really becomes the monument that He intended, because when He calls something blessed, I think He calls it blessed because He sees aforetime what it's going to be and what He wants it to be. But you still at point A. So the Father sees like point Z, and He says, oh, this is blessed. This is me, yada, yada, yada. But you're at point A. Probably haven't even met the person yet. So y'all have to work together and kind of build the Legos of that union to have it become what He already saw and what He declared it to be. It's not just going to become that just because the Father put it together. He doesn't do all the work for you. That's a deception a lot of Christians are under when it comes to God-ordained unions. They think that He just does all of it and nothing can go wrong. That's a lie. Both parties have to be willing. They both have to be obedient. They both have to be sensitive to His voice and able to hear Him. And they have to be willing to comply with what He wants to do in that marriage. Because it's not just you and your spouse, it's the Father too. It's a threefold cord. That's why He calls it a threefold cord. It's not just you and the person. So, so it's blessed. But like I said, with anything that the Father ordains that He gives you in your life, handle it with care and precision and honor. And utilize wisdom with it. I don't know. Let's say Father gave you let's say somebody gave you some cake mix. And you're like, oh my God, thank you so much for this box of cake mix or pancake mix or whatever, you acknowledge that it is a blessing, but it's uncooked. It's just cake batter at the moment. It's just powder, so how to make this the best that you could possibly make it is to utilize wisdom with how you make it, okay? This could be the best bomb, chocolate, cinnamon, sprinkled pancakes, butter, toasted pancakes you could ever make. Or you could just not freaking care, and you can make some lumpy pancakes, Sorry, I don't know why I laughed at that. People handle what the Father gives them differently depending on how much they appreciate it. It's the same box of pancake mix, so somebody did a way better job because they were actually thoughtful with, okay, now how do I want to do this? I got this awesome box of cake mix. It is a blessing because it came from Him. Doesn't change that it came from Him and that it's a blessing. But, somebody's pancakes can come out 10 times better because they actually put enough thought and care and honor into their food. They get love that went into that pancake, okay? And then the other person got the same box of pancake mix from the same person. So it is a blessing, but it comes out looking like crap because you didn't care like that. So for those of you who are courting or who you're about to get married, or maybe you know who your God-ordained spouse is, but you haven't met him yet, or something like that, please take this video into consideration. Do not rush into marriage. It's not taken away from the fact that the Father did ordain it. He's given you all your signs and confirmations. He's been speaking to you about the person, all that stuff. You're in a good place. So you're at a place where you can trust it, and you don't have to worry about picking your spouse because your daddy already did that for you, okay? That part's taken care of. But handle your new gift with care. You don't know your Adam yet. You don't know your Eve yet. You don't really know much about her. Even the little he's revealed to you, it's more so to prepare you for what to expect. So when you come into this experience of meeting them, being in their presence, spending enough months, I say 6 to 8 months, not 6 to 8 months to get married. Give yourself 6 to 8 months. Spend as much time together as you possibly can to just get used to, get a feel of what they're actually like. What is it like to be with this person? It's okay to get excited because the Father put it together. That's great. But what is it like to actually be around you? I have to learn you because as a woman and as your future wife, I have to kind of, as I'm processing you as a person and I'm learning you, I have to kind of strategically plan. Okay, if I'm going to spend the rest of my life with this person, I'm going to pay attention to what you like, what you don't like, how you like your food cooked, even your temper, your temperament. If you have anger problems, it's my responsibility as your caretaker, as your nurse, as your rib, as your supporter and your aide to come up with ways to where I can support you in those areas. If I just come into this completely naive and I don't really understand you, and we just get into a covenant, it's just a mess. Not that like it couldn't work. It's just gonna take I just feel like there should be order in everything. There's nothing wrong with you courting for a minute. That's wisdom. You should do that. Spend some time getting to know the person that you're interested in thoroughly before you get into something permanent that you can't get out of because you can't get out of it. Okay? That's a huge sacrifice that we ain't trying to make unless you're willing to divorce and just be single for the rest of your life. And most of us ain't trying to do that because that means no sex for any of us for the rest of our life. That's why, okay, that's what I'm talking about. Be patient. Do not awaken love before it's time. Your spouse is flawed. The Father more than likely put y'all together because he wants to use the both of you to heal one another and to be each other's deliverance in different areas. So there's going to be some stuff about this person that the Father hasn't already told you that you may not be prepared for. You all excited. Oh my God, I can't wait to meet him. Oh my God, Father, show me what he looked like. Or some of y'all know who it is and you're stalking his Facebook page, but you don't know this person. This is that whole human being that you have never met. You don't know anything about them. So the Father is giving this gift to you. And now that you have this package, I have to choose the best way to utilize this in wisdom, to treat it with care. How can I make the best out of this pancake mix that he's just giving me? And I've kind of created like my own special steps of courtship that I kind of want to go through. And that's why I said my number 2, which is I feel like is the most important thing to me, is after genuinely getting to know this person and the way my heart is set up, one thing my beliefs haven't changed on is that I feel like whoever the Father sends me, I already see them as my husband. I feel like that's my dad. He's the author and finisher of my faith and my life. I mean, obviously I could trust his will for me if he selected this person for me. So I already see you. I've already accepted you as my spouse in my heart. I just have to get to know you. But you're already accepted by default. I don't know if every Christian does it that way. They may not. But I do. So my process is more like I got the package. I receive and accept the package. Or how they say in Hebrew culture, I think when the man wanted to pursue the Hebrew woman, I think she had a say-so in it. I think she was able to say whether she would or wouldn't go with him. Like Isaac and Rebecca, for example. I think, her family asked if she wanted to go with him, and she said yes. So that's kind of where Brandy is. I've already said yes. Father says here, I say thank you, period. I don't question it. So my next step after that would be getting to know this person thoroughly, good and the bad, which, like I said, it's already accepted. If he trusted me to bless you with me or me with you, then I consider it an assignment. The Father is not giving stuff to us that he chose to do something overnight. Like, he's been planning this. By the time he reveals it to you, it's already a done deal. He's finished the product. He says, here, now let's move on to the next phase. So there really shouldn't be much of an argument when it comes to who he sends you, as if his wisdom is not greater than ours, or if his will isn't better. Like he doesn't know you from the inside out and what you need. Um, that is his best. Even if you don't see it the way that he sees it, that is his best for you at the moment until he releases you from that word. And unless he sends you somebody else, that is his best. So I think moving forward, I would really like to give the Holy Spirit and the Father time to really grow and to prune that relationship. I would definitely want to establish a friendship. It's very important. And like I said, I would like a natural, organic love and care for this man to develop first. And I think that if the two of you have that moving forward, you'll both be comfortable moving into something permanent like a covenant. And that's why I said one of the three things that's going to save a marriage and keep it lifelong is if you already were either that person's friend or their best friend, meaning that y'all had a bond connection. Not just chemistry. Chemistry is important, but y'all had a bond. Y'all had a very good connection. Something that's very rare to find with other people. Something that only God can put together. Which is why I am in support of God ordained relationships. There's a lot of things that He can give you in a relationship that you can't give yourself with just picking somebody on your own. You may not experience those, soulmate spiritual qualities that you would in a union like this, because only He can offer that. So you're actually sacrificing a lot by picking your own spouse. Just saying, do what you want to do, so, but if you really care about somebody, let's say y'all been married for 20 years. Y'all got past the honeymoon phase. Romantic off and on. At this point y'all have kids, so you have responsibilities. Everything's not just about y'all anymore. Y'all may have some times where y'all can go be alone and vacate and do what you need to do. But, your marriage has transformed. Y'all have been growing together for 20 years. It's just become something completely different than when the Father first put y'all together. So, let's say the romanticism just kind of dies down a little bit. And if your marriage was dependent on your feelings and you being in love the way you were when y'all originally started courting, you're going to get bored. But which means that you're going to still need something that's going to keep y'all glued together that you can use as leverage if that part, temporarily or seasonally, is just kind of dry. And what that's going to be the foundation that y'all built together in the beginning, where y'all really got a chance to know each other, y'all got really close, y'all got really cool, y'all had a bomb connection, you feel like you could talk to this person about anything. This is the only girl, the only guy you could really trust yourself with. Just a certain level of intimacy that you don't really share with anybody else. And you genuinely love this person. I'm talking about even if he wasn't your husband, he gets sick and he's bedridden. You're going to stay by his side because that's your best friend. You love him. So you see, it's not just a romantic thing. You gave yourself time in your courting phase to genuinely develop a love and a care for this person. That's what's going to save your marriage. All 3 points are important, to be honest. All 3 that I said at the beginning, they're all important. So I can't really say which one is more important. Probably, fearing the Father first. Because I feel like if you really love Him, that's why I tell people, marry somebody that fears the Lord. Because when it comes time and that marriage gets tried, if they don't care about Him or His word, they're going to drop you like a hot potato and they're not going to care nothing about it. But if somebody really fears Him, them loving you and taking care of you and nurturing you and being faithful to their vows to you is their service to Him. And that's how they see it. If I disrespect her, if I cheat on her, if I yell at her or abuse her, even if it's emotional abuse, I'm dishonoring Him. I'm upsetting Him, and that's my dad. I don't want to do that. So He's going to love you perfectly because He loves Him first. That's how it should be. It's not always the case, but that's what's going to save your marriage. If y'all both fear God together. That way, your marriage is bigger than you. It's bigger than the current trial. It's bigger than the little mishap that's going to happen. You acknowledge, I made a vow, I made a covenant that the Father honors, that He takes very seriously, and He's a part of this covenant. People forget that. It's not just you, it's Him too. So if I just throw my marriage away, I throw the Father's plans for this union away. And that's disrespectful. That put the glory back on you and this man or this woman, and you took it off of Elohim. It was about Him from the beginning. That's why I say when you have two people that are spiritually minded and they think about Him first, that marriage is going to survive everything. I kid you not. Because they fear Him. They see their marriage and their covenant as a part of their service to the Lord, as a part of their salvation walk, not just an extension to it. If you have a Christian that sees it as an extension, they're not gonna appreciate marriage like that. They'll be like, oh, I can get divorced and remarried, or get divorced and throw her away. They're not really going to be yielding to the idea of unconditional love for you because they don't have unconditional love for Him. So this person, please marry somebody who fears, look, that's my point. Marry somebody who fears the Lord. At least has a genuine desire, a genuine love, a relationship with Him. That's what's going to sustain that marriage. Loving Him more than you. Not that loving you isn't important. I used to hate hearing that. Like, I don't want him to love him more than me. I want him to love me equally, but it's not that. It's just saying that they understand the umbrella effect. I can't love you the way, even if I wanted to love you, speaking as the man, even if he was madly in love with you, this guy's, like, your husband's attracted to you. He's like, man, I got me a bomb, like, fire queen. Like, he just sees you as, like, the most beautiful thing ever. He's still flawed. So we literally cannot love each other the way the Father wants us to, apart from a relationship with Him. You're going to fail. Because you can still be in love with somebody and want to give them the world and would never leave their side, but you could just be emotionally abusive because of your communication, style. Not intentional. Stuff like that. So, I have to leave. I gotta get on the bus in like an hour or two. What time is it? It's 2 o'clock. Okay, I got an hour left. I need to hop in the shower. I just wanted to get on here and talk, but yeah, I think I would approach things differently this time around. The excitement can lead you to want to do something naive, like rush into a marriage. I would not do that. There's the same way there's a blessing in different stages to enjoy with your children as they grow. You have to see your courtship the same way. Your marriage is going to be its own season of beauty and fruitfulness. But your courtship, as a precursor to that, also has its season of beauty. It's beautiful that, you finally met the tangible manifestation of what He's been promising you for a long time. And now y'all are beginning the phase where y'all can get to know each other. And you get to experience the gift of God. And like I said, the flaws and a lot of the things that this person has, their personality traits, you have to be prepared on how to handle that moving forward. And that may be something y'all need to talk about. Maybe you need to experience him punching a few holes in the walls. You have to be a sister and kind of mature in that area and decide, if you have the kind of heart that I have. Like I said, I don't really see alternative this and that. I feel like once Father gives me the word, you're my husband, that's that. My next step is just to learn you, so I can learn how to love you the best way that I'm supposed to love you. That's where my mind is at. I've already said yes, because it's His will. Every Christian doesn't think like that, okay? But, so, give yourself time to experience, the flaws that Holy Spirit is going to bring to the surface so that y'all can. He wants you to get exposed to those things. He wants you to see their weak spots. So there's going to be some clashing. There's going to be some arguments. There's going to be some disagreements. That's a good thing. You can trust in union because He's already chosen it for you. This is just the phase where you get a chance to kind of feel out, okay, thank you, Father, for giving me this space of courtship so that I can learn or be better prepared on how to deal with this moving forward in a way that's going to support and benefit the both of us. But the conversation is not about, oh, I can't handle this, I'm going to just throw it away. So, I would say 6 to 8 months would be the safest. Giving yourself a chance to get to know them and getting comfortable. Um, Now, as for marriage, I say just let the Holy Spirit lead you with that. You could have the Father give you the A-OK to go ahead and marry them because He may really know the both of y'all. It could be safe. And if you have the approval from Father to do that, then He trusts that, once y'all get into that covenant, He knows that y'all love Him enough, that you're mature enough, spiritually speaking, to continue building upon the foundation He's already laid, so it could be safe for you to marry sooner, than later. But that's not the case for everybody. A lot of Christians are reckless, so we may need that longer, courtship phase. So yeah, but I think a courtship it's already been sealed. It's just more so of like a preparation phase before we make something permanent. I want to be prepared for what I'm getting myself into. I need to learn you so I can know how to respond when this happens again. That's not something you want to be trying to do after you already step into a covenant. It's going to become a mess. And y'all not going to know how to deal with each other. Y'all don't know how to communicate with each other. You're still learning each other. And you don't really know each other. And now you in a covenant. Ain't no getting out of that. So now you have to figure out late, you know, even the sacrifice that goes into a marriage covenant, It's not going to be all about you anymore. It's about this person. But you're still in the exploration phase. So unless you just really have some bomb instruction from the Holy Spirit going into that covenant on how to deal with each other, I wouldn't do that. Just wait. So, I'm trying to think, is there anything else I wanted to say? Because it was my own personal thoughts. So I was thinking like that's the way I would handle things now. I would let the person know that they've already been accepted by me. They could be completely comfortable with me. Um, and y'all already know me. My loyalty is genuine. I do not believe in divorce. If the Father said you are my husband, that's my dad. Okay? He rules my life. I don't rule my own life. I trust him with what he gave me, which means I have a responsibility to you that's bigger than me. So that's why I said I'm not rejecting you. I've already accepted what he gave me. I'm just learning you so that I can make the best of the pancake mix. Okay? Because he's trusting me with your life. That's a serious thing, and nobody sees it that way. Marriage is very serious. You are going to be bonded with this person forever. Oh, hey, Kwame. I'm just now seeing his comment. Yeah, my father, puts two people together for something serious like a marriage covenant. He's trusting you with that other person's life. That's why I say you have to use wisdom and handle what he gave you very carefully, so that you can learn the person that he gave you, so that you can, just kind of practice. I think a courting is a practice phase. Practice loving them. You know, learning their triggers and, what upsets them, how to comfort them before y'all make something, permanent. Because you want to love them and be the best husband, be the best wife that you can be. Not meaning that you have to be perfect. I believe in being perfect for your spouse. I don't believe in being perfect. You can be perfect for them. That's why you have to use that phase, just getting to know each other and learning their triggers and, those things like that. But, yeah, I would say my loyalty to the Lord is honestly enough to keep me, to sustain that marriage. I wouldn't go anywhere unless he told me to. I don't believe in that. I've shared my beliefs several times on here. But I do want to say this, though. Piggybacking on what I just said. A lot of women, we can obey the Lord, and that is enough. I'm not saying it's not enough. To fear him and to reverence him, and that shows in our relationship, in our compliance, in our submission to you, and how we treat you as a wife. But if you don't have that genuine bond and connection, and that trust has been established in that relationship, that friendship is there, a very organic care, and a genuine love for this person, you're not going to enjoy your marital duties. So you can do it because you understand that's what the Father wants you to do, but you may not like it. That's why I say the courtship phase is important. Give y'all selves a chance to just fall in love with each other. Not even in a romantic sense. You can fall in love with your best friend. Like, man, I just really love Brandy. Like, she's just an awesome person. Like, I want to marry her because I can see myself spending the rest of my life with her. Apart from any romantic feelings, I just like her as a person. I like her personality. You get what I'm saying? It's different. That way, like I said earlier, if one part is lacking, which there is going to be some seasons where it is lacking, especially if you have a baby in the mix. It's not too much, romance going on. It's more so responsibility because you're growing and developing a human being that you're responsible to raise. You have something else. It's kind of like, okay, when this part gets kind of wrung out, I can put it back, recharge it, and I can use this now. So we're not in the romantic phase right now, but we still got our bond friendship. So as friends, we've been married for 5 years? Now as best friends, we still got our connection. We can enjoy our child together. So you see, there's so many different phases that you can enjoy and experience in your marriage union. It's not all just going to be the romance honeymoon phase. But if you didn't have that going in and you married for money or something, or other stupid superficial reasons, you're not going to have really much to use as an anchor, especially if you don't fear the Lord. That's your anchor right there. Without that, that marriage is going to be shipwrecked completely. Seriously. Without him, it's gone. Everything else is secondary, but it's still important. 100%. So, pretty much, no rush into marriage. Appreciate what the Lord gave you. Give yourself time to get to know the person. And grow to love the person. I want to say that. Because when I say get to know, I don't mean get to know so you can size up what you do and don't like and determine whether that determines whether you want to stay and fulfill God's will or not. I'm not talking about that kind of get to know. I mean get to know them so that you can learn how to love them. Consider this phase as practice for where we're going. We can get into a covenant and learn and do this stuff afterwards, but it's just disorderly. It can work. People do it, but it's just, no. It's just best to do it beforehand. Because I feel like comfortability and vulnerability is a good foundation for people when they get married. If you already have that going in, because you already trust the person, you've already had the experience of sharing your past traumas and your background, your history. You've experienced the love and the grace and forgiveness that they gave you when you discuss certain things. It's just a certain level of comfortability that you have walking into a covenant that makes you feel more secure versus you just rushing into it just because it was God's will or just because you want to be married really quick. That's stupid. That's not handling his gift with wisdom and care. Just so you can be running around telling the rest of the church, oh, God put this together. This was God. It's like, well, that's great. Anybody that reads the Bible knows that something can be God, but unless you do what he told you to do with that, it's going to come to ruins, just like anything else. So that means nothing. There's a lot of stuff that he put together. Heck, he put us together. We a hot mess. So it's just like, unless you're obeying his commandments as his creation, you're not even a fruitful vessel. You're not an honorable vessel. So him ordaining something is not really the real power here. It's people and vessels that are willing to cooperate with his will so that it can become what he wants it to be. And so that you can be blessed by that union as well in return. Because if you don't obey his instructions from beginning to end, from the meeting in the courting phase to the marriage phase, it's going to fail miserably. Period. So yes, Christian dating 101, wisdom matters. Be patient. Enjoy that time getting to know each other. Enjoy dating. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, you're still going to date after you get married, but let the Holy Spirit lead you with the timing and stuff. He may want to enjoy the bonding moment between the two of you just as much as you do. So just like any dad, I don't want to miss out on my kid's first day of school. You just jumped right over kindergarten and went straight to fourth grade. Like, what the heck is this? And you've missed out on kindergarten, first, second, and third grades education, and you went into a serious marriage covenant, and now you want me to fix everything. That's what I put you in school for. I'm not gonna do that. Y'all can handle that. Like, that's what he's gonna say. I'll be here to help, but it's not what I wanted y'all to do. Y'all did that, you know. So, yeah, just like any dad, I think he wants to take you to your first day of school, and he wants to hear about your first day, and your second day, and your third day, and then when you get to first grade, you start the coloring and the finger painting and the numbers and stuff. So there's a lot of stuff to learn in your courting phase. You know, before y'all just walk into something permanent unprepared. Not saying it couldn't work if you do it that way, but you'll be very unprepared because you don't know them like that. Even if the father taught you of how to be a wife and everything, like my videos, for example, I have all that knowledge. He's been preparing me. I know how to be a perfect Eve, but I don't know how to be a perfect Eve for you. I don't know you. I was taught how to be a perfect Eve for somebody else, but you could be completely different. This is a whole new person with a whole new set of issues, so I have to learn you first and then apply what he's taught me over the years as a daughter to your situation specifically. I have to give myself time to do that so that we both can be blessed. So I think that's all I really wanted to say and benefit from that relationship. Everything I pretty much said is very important. I think the last thing that I mentioned was making sure y'all have that connection. And that's why I say don't rush into it, because you have a lot of sisters and brothers. It doesn't take, we don't all just open up to somebody at the same rate. You may have some Christians that don't have a problem with communication. They can be on the first date and open it up like bam, bam, bam. Y'all bonded. Y'all get close like over 2 months. But then you have some sisters, y'all are in this new situation. Father put it together, but you're really shy. And you don't really know how to open up, maybe through past traumas you've experienced. So you see, that's going to kind of slow down your covenant walking into that door, because y'all need to get over this step first. You're not even comfortable opening up to him. So you see what I'm talking about? You got to go through certain steps like that first. And connection is very important, but you can't have a connection with somebody. Y'all could be each other's soulmates. And if Father put y'all together, that is the case. Trust me, they're going to be your counterpart. But you have to discover how. You'd be surprised. So even the courtship phase is not even just getting to know them, it's getting to know yourself through them. You'll be surprised how much the Father brings to the surface about you through the person that you're courting. And they're like the mirror reflection of you. But you have to discover and explore them first. If you're shy and dealing with rejection and all this other stuff, it can kind of put a damper on that. So you see how it's God's will, but it's kind of being ruined already, what he wanted to do. So you have to have the connection. You have to have a genuine bond. This has to be somebody that you're comfortable with opening yourself up to, so you can trust them with your vulnerability. Because if you ain't got that, you can get married all you want to. When it's time for y'all to have sex, y'all gonna do it with the lights off. You're not going to want to let him see your body because you still think you're ugly. And this guy is your husband. There's women who are married that still believe their husbands don't like their bodies. And that shows like where y'all's level of intimacy is. Do that before. Become friends before. If I see somebody as my best friend, I don't care that you got a mole on your butt. We can joke about that. But if you don't know this person and you come into this situation and y'all just rush into that, it's just too much stuff to work through that could be avoided if you just did all this stuff before. It doesn't mean that you have to have a timeline of when to get married. You can still be excited about the marriage part, but this part is very important. Get this part done first. So, yeah, foundational. Connection, chemistry, bonding, vulnerability, intimacy, establishing a friendship, establishing trust. When you get to a point where you can trust the person that you're courting, you're going to be more than comfortable. You're going to walk into that marriage union with a level of security that it's going to be so much peace. That's what you should want when y'all finally do choose to, make it official. I'm with my best friend, and y'all need to have that discussion too. Make sure that while y'all are courting, y'all are always constantly being open about, so, well, how do you feel about me? How do you feel about, where this relationship is going? What are your thoughts about me? Not that your security and self-esteem should come from that, but you need to know where their head is at, where their heart is at. Because you don't want to get into a marriage union where just because they fear the Lord, they'll probably obey and they'll probably never divorce you because they respect Him, but it won't be in love. And that's the worst situation you could ever get yourself in, is being somebody's maid servant, being a Hagar instead of a Sarah. Because y'all didn't go through those stages of developing a real friendship and relationship first with key elements. Now you're in a situation where, because you're in a covenant, you have to abide by scripture and still love this man and fulfill your marital duties to this woman, but there's no passion behind it. That's not God. So you see, He can ordain it, but it's not giving glory to Him. Because when he loves you and He wants us to love Him back, He wants it to be a passionate love, a self-sacrificing love, you know, denying yourself kind of love. He wants you to want Him back, not just obey me because I told you to. That's not love. How does that give glory to me? How is that going to represent to the heathens, what our relationship? They're not going to want to come into a relationship with Yahuwah if they feel like, so basically, y'all just get into a covenant with Him and just obey a whole bunch of rules that you really don't want to do. I don't want to be a part of that. That's not love. Exactly. So your marriage can be God ordained, but not give any glory to Him because y'all screwed up. And then you get to a point where you don't even want to try to fix it. Don't do that. Yeah, obedience is important, but obedience through love is even better. So, do you want to spend the rest of your life with your best friend and somebody that you can trust? Because if they've already proven, and let them prove to you that they can be trusted. Let them earn your trust first. Don't just give it to them because God put it together. They got a lot of buffoons, okay? Speaking from my personal experience, that means nothing. Let them earn that, please. Let them prove their love for you. But y'all always have to keep that open communication of how they feel about you, because that's going to build security for both parties. A man needs that. He needs that affirmation just as much as a woman does. Men are babies. And as a wife, it's going to be a part of your responsibility to nurse them. So they want to know that they can trust you too. They don't want to marry you and then you turn out to be some Jezebel wife who just gonna leave them by themselves. Like, they want to be supported too. They're looking for a good woman, not just somebody who's beautiful and attractive, but somebody that can actually benefit them spiritually and emotionally. It's bad enough, it's hard enough, I'm gonna say, to even find somebody that wants to deal with your bull crap. But it adds another special kind of security and comfort when this person is showing you, I see it, I've experienced it, I'm still here, I'm not going to go anywhere, you have my word. Okay? That's your friend. It's not just your wife or your husband, that's your friend. So y'all can comfortably walk into a marriage union with that foundation already in place. Y'all ain't going nowhere because you genuinely love them. Y'all gonna be 80 years old, she bedridden in the bed, and you bringing her Subway with your gray beard and your plaid shirts and your baseball cap on and your old brown shoes that don't match your outfit. Because that's your friend. That's your wife. You love her. That's somebody you have a genuine connection with that the Most High has blessed you with that you don't have with nobody else. Because y'all gave y'all selves time to get to know each other and to build those Legos, those building blocks. That's very important for you to build. I'm not saying it has to take a year or 2 years. It could happen in 6 months. I'm just saying, just at least do it. Just do it first. And let the Holy Spirit lead you with when to make that next move. So, that's it. I need to go take a shower. Because I'm about to leave. It is 2:23. Yeah, I need to get in the shower. I see you, Akiva. I think it's a brother. He said, break it down, break it down. Oh, y'all are funny. Um, but that's it. I just wanted to share my thoughts, and hopefully y'all follow this instruction. Do not rush into marriage. Do not do that. Don't do that. Enjoy dating. And you know another way I see it? I haven't dated anybody in years. So, and knowing as Christians, if we're living the way we're supposed to be, we're not dating. So it's kind of like, well, why would you want to rush into something? You don't want to enjoy the dating. Like, we finally can date now, right? Because he said the one he wants you to be with. Spend some time just dating, just going out and having fun, and just, yeah, you can date after marriage. I'm not saying that. It depends on how the Lord wants to, do your specific union, but just enjoy the dating phase. Like, we don't even get to do that being set apart. If you're obedient, you're not dating. So, but yeah, that's it. I said everything I needed to say. Anything that y'all forgot, you can just rewind this video and replay it again. So I hope y'all be blessed, and I will see you later.